New info, new screenshots, new systems, and how the heck to balance a girl on the run from the Empire and every other criminal overlord in the galaxy. What's going on, guys, girls? It's GhostRobo. Game Informer, is part of their month-long coverage of Star Wars Outlaws, dropped a new article with new information and more details on the things that I really want to know about. Reputation and Wanted. So Wanted is something that we've actually seen, but they haven't really covered or described, so we'll get into that here. Plus more details on the Reputation, including how you can balance the factions, if it's possible to completely wipe out / no longer be able to work for a faction, and if you can appease or make happy all the factions at the same time. There's also some new screenshots here. I thought this was pretty darn cool, and I wanted to bring it your way, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm obviously very excited for Star Wars Outlaws, and I'm excited that Jabba the Hutt is in the main game. Yay! It's not just one mission. Of course it's not, but of course, the reputation system is at the forefront of this game. Given that there's the different cartels, the different syndicates, you got to balance things out. They go on to talk about how, we do have these leaders of each syndicate, and in each syndicate, you will have a reputation level. And your reputation level will be going up and down frequently. Now, what's interesting about this article is that they seem to really emphasize the fact that you are going to be like roller coaster riding this reputation system. So like going and screwing up. Some examples of screwing up would be getting spotted in their territory, or getting seen on a video camera system, or killing some Pike member while you're in the Pike's hideout. Another example would be making a story choice where, like, they give an example of, you have this video file, you can give it to the Crimson Dawn, you can give it to the Pikes, and you get to decide, who you're going to piss off and who you're going to try to win favor for. But what's interesting is they say that you can't, completely turn off one syndicate. You can't completely empty out one side of missions. You're never entirely cut off from any of the factions, is the quote that they put in the article. After all, you're dealing with criminal organizations who are primarily concerned with how you can benefit them. If they think you're the right person for the job, they'll still let you do work for them. And then one of the game developers says, these aren't friendships, so it's still very much like, okay, can Kay help you out in this moment? Which, at first, made me worried, right? Because it's like, okay, so there's actually no point of no return. You can't really push these too far. They just ebb and flow. But then there's a follow-up comment that I think kind of eases my concern and eases my fear, because as I've told you, my worry with a reputation system is that it doesn't mean much. But they've actually gone into further detail with what reputation can actually gain you, and I feel good about it. But first, let me tell you about this comment. They asked the creative director if there's a way to max out all the syndicate's reputation meters. Like, can you get wherever the greatest level excellent is with every syndicate? And he said, not that I've been able to find. And I think that's a really good note, that you have to pick and choose at least somewhat. You can't just say, okay, you know what, Crimson Dawn, you know what, Pikes, you know what, Ashiga, you know what, Zarek Besh, you know what, Hutt Clan, we're going to just be good to all of you. You have to pick and choose. So you can't completely zero out with somebody, but you can also not max out with everybody. So I think that's a fair trade. I feel okay with that, and I feel like the reputation is going to be fun. And on this subject, they note that it's really up to the player to decide how they want to balance their reputations throughout the game. You can go all in with one syndicate, but obviously at the risk of displeasing others, or you can try and play the underworld a bit more and try to find something a bit more balanced. Now, I hope there is good rewards for both. I hope that there is some cool benefits to having everybody kind of on your side, right? You get take a little bit from everybody, you get access to a little bit of everything they have to offer. But then I also hope there's equal benefit to having an extreme relationship with one. I hope if you are super solid with the Hutt cartel, Jabba the Hutt himself is going to slither out and swallow somebody for you. It seems to me that a balanced approach will be the easier, better, smarter approach, and that there will be no reason to not do that, unless they make really maxing out one very, very valuable. So we'll have to TBD, wait and see. Are there going to be equally but different exciting rewards for having a balance versus just maxing one? And I hope that's the case. I hope we can choose to be Hutt loyalists, or we can try and be a scoundrel that plays everybody off of each other. Now, previously we talked about how you can gain access to different levels of their hideouts, right? Just the outer level, the inner level. You can get access to more things from their shop, secret stock. But this article details that you can also get access to more missions and more jobs. You can get access to high-stakes sabacc tables, which is pretty sweet. I want to play some more Star Wars card games, even though I play Star Wars Unlimited and nothing's going to beat that. But this will be cool because it's in-world. So you get access to basically like money-making opportunities besides the missions. And then you also get access to intel and rumors. Now, this is interesting because those three things, high-stakes sabacc, intel, rumors, not things we saw before. And I do like the idea that they will help you on your quest to either find upgrades or find more side missions or find collectibles. And we did hear before that, like, okay, some of Kay's upgrades are going to be tied to missions. Like, oh, she needs to go find this new part for her blaster, and that's how she's going to actually build up her gun. So I like to think that maybe, like, okay, if you really build up good rapport with the Ashiga clan, they might hear a rumor that leads you to a different planet or a secret, or basically almost like, you know, kind of like a walkthrough or a strategy guide tip on where to find something without actually having to look it up. Like, they basically become your source for secrets. And then they talk about intel and rumors. Like, I wonder, is that also going to be things like, hey, we heard if you do this, you could gain favor with this faction. We heard this faction is going to be here. We heard about this person that is lurking, and if you pay them, they might actually work for you. I'm curious to see how involved the conversation system is. Like, for example, will there be some guards that we have to say the right thing to in order to open up different options? So say there's a guard, an Imperial guard, and, you know, if you just go up to him, he says like, hey there, you know, rebel, stay away. But if you say like the right catchphrase to him, or if you ask him about his family, will he like open up and then maybe be willing to take a bribe? Because they also start talking about the Empire alongside the other, or alongside the criminal factions, the syndicates, as like another thing you have to worry about. And that's where the wanted meter comes in. So you don't have a reputation with the Empire. They hold too much power. You're not going to ever win them over. But if you break enough rules, your wanted level rises. And the more wanted you are, the worse the Empire makes your life, they say. And this basically is like police or any sort of wanted meter in an open world game, GTA or, you know, Far Cry or anything of those sorts. Whereas your wanted level goes up, more and more Imperials will hunt for you up to a maximum level where then elite enemies will be summoned to hunt you down. And it says that there is a challenging in-world event at the maximum wanted level. Now, I don't know if that's just going to be a shootout. I don't know if that's going to be some sort of like mini game / button, you know, quick time event thing. But it's interesting that they call it a in-world event. So it's not like you just get thrown immediately in jail. It's not like it's a cutscene. You do have to do something challenging to throw them off your back. But they say you can also meet with corrupt Imperial officers who might take a bribe. So this is where I think it's going to be very interesting to see like how the dialogue options really open up and how much flexibility do we have with how Kay portrays herself, not just to the syndicates, but to the Empire as well. They also say, obviously, you can try to hide. They will know your last known position. And unfortunately, in the demos Game Informer played, they did not get to experiment with the wanted system at all, which is really interesting that they didn't want to show that off. But we have seen it in some of the footage where the Imperial is speaking in the cantina, and then you go out and the Imperial's all over you. Now, they do also note here that depending on how friendly you are with certain syndicates, they can come in during these Imperial chases and try to take the Empire off your back. Now, I think that is really, really fun and really, really cool. And this is some of the more dynamic nature and some of the more unscripted events I was talking about that would be really, really cool in this world and in this universe. They want to make this a more lifelike open world, a more living, breathing, highly detailed, single-player open world. So that's pretty freaking sweet. And I like the idea that, like, hey, I've been working, you know, a lot with Kira from the Crimson Dawn, and she likes me a lot, so she's going to send her Crimson Dawn soldiers out when the Empire is after me, and I think that's pretty sweet. I like the idea that they can come and distract them, that they can come and help. And again, I hope it's not on-off. I hope maybe it's even more nuanced than that. Like, okay, if you have a decent reputation with the Crimson Dawn, they're going to send, you know, 1 or 2 guards, but that's all they're going to risk to try and, you know, take off the Empire. But if you, say, have a great relationship with the Crimson Dawn, maybe they're going to send some of their higher level soldiers to try and, you know, try and help you out, try to take down the Empire. I think that's really, really cool. just to be clear, as I'm reading through this article a third time, I noticed they say that not only that, but if you get into trouble with another syndicate and find yourself in a chase, a syndicate with whom you have a good relationship might jump in and help you get away. So I'm assuming it works the same with the Empire as well, but just to be very like direct and on the nose here, they're talking specifically about another syndicate chasing you off. So that's another level of intrigue here, is now apparently not only can the Empire chase you away, not only is your wanted level with the Empire going to create chase sequences, but you can get in the chase with another syndicate. Part of me also does wonder if maybe there was just like a misunderstanding here. You can be so bad down with the syndicate that they chase you, or are they talking about the Empire chasing you in the wanted levels? Because the Empire doesn't have reputation, and similarly the syndicates don't have wanted. So where does this chase originate? I'm not entirely sure. I just want to clarify that to make sure you knew exactly what was stated. I assume it also means the Empire, or maybe even just the Empire, but TBD on that fully. Nonetheless, one syndicate that you have a good relationship with can definitely help you out when you're in trouble somewhere else. And something that's really, really nice, besides just like, oh, you can sneak into their hideout. When it was initially described as like, that's what we got going on, sneak into the hideout. Okay, like, all right, like, yes, different access, different shops, different items in a menu, but now like intel, high stakes sabacc tables, them coming to your aid as you're running away from the Empire. Like, I really, really like this, and I think that the four syndicates, balancing them out, I hope like has interesting implications and interesting dynamics. Like, maybe if your relationship is really strong with the Pike clan, it's going to be better for your pocketbook. It's going to be better on like the currency side, but maybe it's going to be worse in terms of fending off the Empire. Whereas like, okay, maybe the Ashiga, they don't give a crap about high stakes sabacc. They don't have a bunch of money to really loan you. They don't have good wares to sell. But if you get into trouble with the Empire, they're really going to maybe help you out better. Maybe they got stronger soldiers that they'll send your way to dig you out of a messy situation. I like that a lot, and I hope that the fact that they're trying to keep all the syndicates around, right? This isn't like Heavy Rain or one of those games, Quantum Dream, where you can just completely like kill off a character, write off a faction. But you can piss them off, and it does seem like there's enough different levels where, okay, maybe they just won't help you out. Maybe they just won't come to your aid. Maybe they won't provide you with any sabacc tables, and I like that a lot. The wanted meter in conjunction with this, I think, is smart. The fact that they're not related, like they correlate in some ways, but they're not directly related. They don't balance off of each other. I think that's pretty sweet too, and I think they're saying all the right things here of building out systems that are interesting and exciting to play with, and don't just feel like you don't just feel like it's sort of preordained, right? Like it's pre-designed of how this is going to work. I really like the fact that you can't max out all of them. We're gonna have to pick and choose, and I'm excited to do that as we move closer towards August. This game is out in 4 months. Let me know what you think about the new details on Reputation and Wanted in the comments down below. Hopefully y'all are as excited for this game as I am. In the meantime, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Drink some hot chocolate, and we will see you all later.